Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show, Cary Jack. Cary is a lifestyle entrepreneur, author, podcast host, professional, actor, model, biohacker, eco-warrior, martial artist, oh my goodness, and humanitarian striving to make a positive impact on the planet. After experiencing entrepreneurial burnout, Cary Jack then founded The Happy Hustle, whose mission is to educate, inspire, and entertain while reminding you to enjoy the journey, not just the destination, as you happy hustle for a life of passion and purpose. So you guys can see why I have him on the show, right? For successful entrepreneurs to spiritual masters, Cary Jack interviews an array of powerful guests, including myself, on the Happy Hustle podcast to help you transform your dreams into a reality. His book, The Happy Hustle, is coming out in 2021, and he couldn't be more excited at the opportunity to share his message of happy hustling, a way to balance your life and your love. Hello there, Cary. How are you?
Fantastic, Moneeka. Always a pleasure to connect with you and honored to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So ladies, I had to share Cary with you for a couple of reasons. First of all, I was on his show. He's an amazing host. So go check that out at Happy Hustle podcast. And then also he runs a mastermind that I'm a part of. So as podcasters, we share a lot of ideas, and he always shows up super consistently as the Happy Hustle guy. And one of the things that, I put a lot of emphasis on in life is about living bliss consistently, right? You want to develop those bliss muscles and habits so that no matter where you go emotionally in your life, you're always able to come back to this baseline of bliss. Consistency is the key. And so the people that I have on my show talking about bliss, it really makes a difference if they themselves are showing up for their lives and for the people around them consistently, right? So, and Cary is definitely one of those people. So I'm really excited to share him with you and for this conversation. So Cary, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, when I think of bliss, I think of you. So I just tried to keep up, Moneeka.
That's awesome. So Cary, give us a little bit about your background and sort of what brought you to where you are.
Well, it started with growing up half in Sarasota, Florida, and then half in Red Lodge, Montana. I was basically, a surf and skate half the year, then camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, the other half playing cowboy. And I currently reside in Big Sky Country, Montana. And, I've always been an entrepreneur since an early age and just really valuing the dollar and having to earn every penny for myself. I mean, my dad and mom are both entrepreneurs, and they were always instilled in us that you had to basically go out and, hunt for it if you want to eat it, and that was kind of so I have that blue collar like work mentality, and I think that served me. Now I did experience entrepreneurial burnout along the journey, and that's kind of what led me to Happy Hustling. I was, a fancy tech entrepreneur with my big data tech startup in New York City, wearing the fancy suit and tie. And, my brother and business partner and I were soliciting this 7-figure VC funding deal. And we inked partnerships with Microsoft and IBM and all the things, working 100+ hour weeks. And I just burnt out. I mean, at that point, I sacrificed everything to get that deal and those partnerships. My faith, my family, my fitness, my fun all went to the gutter. And it wasn't until I actually achieved the profit and success that I realized this isn't worth it, And so I kind of flew to Bangkok, Thailand, lived there for 10 months, figured out a better way to work and live. And that's kind of where the Happy Hustle was born. Now I really am focused on being a lifestyle entrepreneur, investing my hard-earned fruits of my labor wisely into different assets, different businesses, different people. And what I really found is that you can achieve blissful balance if you just measure yourself in each of these 10 alignments. And so I just kind of scratched my own itch first, which was going from burnout to bliss. And now I'm helping others do the same.
Nice. I love that. And I love that you are so comfortable using the word bliss. People usually come on this show and they're like, what, like, what is that? Right. So I am delighted that you're so comfortable with that. And I see you living that lifestyle. So that's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about these 10 alignments that create sort of that blissful balance for you. And for everybody, right?
Yeah, for everybody. I mean, these apply to everybody. It's an acronym. I found that it's difficult to remember 10 alignments in my tribe. So I made it an acronym. It's SOULMAPPIN, SOULMAPPIN, no G. That would be 11. But S stands for
G can
selfless.
be for go.
Yeah, there you go. Go do it. That's true. So S stands for selfless service because, as Tony Robbins says, the secret to living is giving. So I think it's very important to focus on giving back to others, giving your time, giving your money, giving your expertise. Now, and as I go through these, I urge your audience to measure 1 to 5 where you actually rank in each of these 10 alignments. This is a practice that my tribe does every Sunday, and I do every Sunday. And it's very important that what you measure, you can manage. So you have to know where you may be out of balance. If you're feeling stressed or unfulfilled or burnout in any capacity, you may be lacking in one of these 10 alignments. And it's important to recognize it first. Awareness is the first step.
Yeah.
So as I go through these, feel free to interject anytime, Moneeka, as well. But, basically measure 5 would be an A. You're crushing it. You're happy hustling. 1 is an F. You're failing. So in selfless service, that's the first step. S, selfless service. How often are you volunteering? How often are you giving back? How often are you not just thinking for yourself? If it's, every day, that's a 5, you're crushing it. If it's a 1 and you're never, helping others, you need to maybe prioritize change because that's a big component to happiness and fulfillment. The next one is O, optimized health. Moneeka, health is wealth. You have to have your health if you're going to happy hustle in any capacity, if you're going to live a blissful life. And for me, I think a lot of people complicate it. I used to run a high-end biohacking company. We worked with pro athletes and Fortune 500 CEOs. And I learned a lot from what the top 1% of high performers are doing. And I think a lot of people complicate it. For me, it's moving the body minimum 25 minutes every single day, drinking a gallon of water, and just eating healthy, all natural organic foods, no processed crap. So measure right now where you're at 1 to 5 in each of the 10 alignments, and specifically for O. U for, we're at the SOU. U is unplugged digitally. I think a lot of people are plugged in so much to their devices now on their smart TVs and their smartphones and their tablets. And we're so disconnected from our present moment and our mother nature and even the people right beside us. So I think it's very important to disconnect to reconnect. And again, I'll put in a little sprinkle of tips throughout each of these, but even just 60 minutes of undivided, no device time in the mornings when you wake up can go so far. And then I even double down in the evening time, 60 minutes before bed, no devices. So those 2 simple happy hustle hacks can make a big difference. And that's you. Measure where you're at. If you're always plugged in and you're never disconnected, that's a 1. You need to prioritize change.
And I think actually I do want to highlight this a little bit because I think this is something that we don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
When I hold my Choose Bliss retreat, which is called the Bliss Retreat, this is one of the very first things we talk about is, your mind is at its most vulnerable and highest capacity just when you wake up and just before going to sleep. So those are not times you want to be looking at social media, which can be highly negative or overly positive, making you feel bad about your life, right? You don't want to be looking at news. You don't want to be susceptible to the subconscious messages of advertising. You don't want any of those things. And now our phones are not just a phone. They're all of those things. right?
Mhm.
And so it's really important not even to check text, right? Because when you check a text, you're now plugging into somebody else's agenda,
Mm.
right? So you want to make sure that you start the day and end the day focused on your own agenda, your own
Oh
life,
yeah.
your own bliss, your own gratitude, right? So that's the first thing. But then the other thing about that, and I just love this because people don't talk about this much, but before you go to sleep, if you have screen time, your eyes have a physical reaction to the screen,
The toxic blue
which
light.
that's
Yeah.
it, right, right? And it takes time to decompress from that, for your eyes to settle in, to be able to go into REM sleep, right?
Mhm.
So it's not just the mental activity of looking at that screen, it's the physical reaction that our bodies have. So in the morning, it's hugely important to start your day off right. Do not start with other people's agenda, advertising, and bad news. And at night, you don't want to have all of those things that you're going to dream about at night, right? You don't want to be dreaming about other people's agendas, bad news, and advertising. You also want to make sure that your body has the time to decompress and relax so that you sleep blissfully, right?
Mm.
So I love that.
Love
The
it.
hour on either side gives you just the space to prioritize yourself for long enough to set yourself up for bliss.
Amen to that. I mean, you nailed it. And I'll take it a step further. What our devices actually emit is a toxic frequency. It's EMFs,
Yes.
electromagnetic frequency. It's basically radiation. And whether you're on your Bluetooth headset or you got your smartphone in your pocket, zapping you with EMFs, these have shown to break down our cells on a DNA level, on the smallest, and if you're wondering why your mitochondria is not functioning properly, aka your energy powerhouse cells, you need to check your screen time. You need to check your device usage. This is a huge factor, and a lot of people are missing it, and especially now with the rollout of 5G. I don't want to, go down the woo-woo train here of like, tinfoil hat guy,
Everywhere.
but
Yeah.
it's a factor,
Uh-huh.
and so you have to use technology wisely. And if you are going to use your devices past dark, put on some blue blockers. Those help your eyes, as Moneeka said. That affects your retina and your cornea, and it really does take time to compensate for that toxic blue light. So it's an important factor, both physically and mentally and emotionally. Watching social media and the news, that stuff is oftentimes, as you mentioned, other people's agendas, other people's priorities, not yours. So
Right.
important steps there.
Love that. Thank you for letting me interject. Now, on to you.
Of course. Oh yeah. dive in whenever. L, loving relationships. So this is an essential part and just living the happy hustle, blissful life, right? You have to have love in your life. What's it all for? What's all the investing? What's all the money? What's all the accumulation of wealth for if you don't have people to share it with? And, I've found that a lot of my fellow entrepreneurs, they sacrifice specifically their loved ones to get to the cliche top of the mountain. And then they look around and, oh, by the way, the view sucks, and they're isolated.
Well, the view
no
is
one's there.
gorgeous, but there's nobody there with them.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
Hopefully the view's gorgeous, but oftentimes I see people don't even like the view. They're like, oh, I should be on that mountain. That mountain looks a lot better,
Or it's cloudy,
so
cloudy and cold.
Exactly. Yeah. We could go all day. but that's the truth, and so for me, I have a fiance, we're getting married soon, about 5.5 years. We have, date night every week. We have a Sunday bear talk, we call it. We have a love calendar where we measuring where we rank in our relationship every single day. I ask her, and I, this could be something that you implement with your lover. It's a simple whiteboard calendar. It sits in our room. I ask her every night, hey, babe, what was your, I really don't call her babe, but, we
just
call each
for
other
our ears.
Yeah, exactly. I ask her, hey, what was your what's your love day today? And she's like, it was an 8. We had lots of passion, lots of love, lots of maybe even intercourse, like it all measures up. And then she asked me, I'll say, oh, you know what? Mine was a 6. This was why. Okay. So we averaged that out of 7. I'll put it on the calendar for that day. I'll put a heart around it. And then, we move on to the next day. Then at the end of the month, you can see where you actually rank, because oftentimes us as humans have this negativity bias, and we focus on the negative, the nitpicking, the nagging. Oh, she didn't do the dishes, or I didn't do the laundry. And so this is a way to actually calculate. And you want to be 90% love days. Hopefully that's the goal. 10%, there's going to be some mess ups. But if you start dropping down below 80% love days, then you might need to reassess, reevaluate. Is this a healthy relationship for you? So that's just one, happy hustle hack for you. But loving relationships, both with your family, your friends, is a really important piece. So I would say measure 1 to 5 where you rank, and that's L. So now we got the soul part of soul mapping.
Okay.
Shall I continue?
Yes, please do.
Okay. M is for mindful spirituality. And I know you're big into meditation and, breath work and just being spiritual in whatever capacity. I don't necessarily care if you believe in one God or another. I just think you have to have faith in a higher power. And for me, just getting still 10 minutes minimum a day, focusing on my breath, focusing on gratitude, doing my gratitude practice, doing my I am incantations, on my rebounder, just training my subconscious. That is a central part of mindful spirituality. And, I think, again, meditation oftentimes gets complicated, but really all you have to do is focus on your breath in a quiet place, and just enjoy the given moment, feel, use your different senses. But measure where you rank right now, 1 to 5 in each of these 10 alignments, and specifically mindful spirituality. And this is, you see the highest performers at every level in your, in the real estate game, to the business game, to any high performer in the sports field is using mindful spirituality. So if you're not, maybe this is a wake up call. So that's M.
So I just want to say that I asked the 3 rapid fire questions at the end for every single guest that's been on here. We've had 250, a little bit more than that, guests on the show. And I will say the 2 biggest things that people say are some form of meditation or some form of exercise. And it's so interesting because you don't think those aren't business related things. Those aren't, I get up and I block time and I did it, and every week I do this. And then it's none of that. It's taking care of the human element first of you so that you can then go out there and be your very best self in the world. Right. So meditation is huge. And, there's a million different kinds of meditation. You can complicate it. You can do what Cary just said. But choose something. I know, especially as entrepreneurs, we have kind of a monkey mind. So settling into that, at least at first, feels like a challenge. So you can push through and just keep doing it until it becomes you've trained your mind to do it. Or you can pick something else that will keep you going until you can get there. So for instance, a walking meditation. I do a dancing meditation because I'm a dancer. Right. So there's different ways that we can engage meditation, but find something that helps you to heal and nourish your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. And I mean, it's a great way to just get out of our head and into our hearts,
Right.
and we spend a lot of time in the monkey brain, just overthinking and overanalyzing and just that anxiety and stress. And it's a great way to just take a step back. And it's clinically proven that 6 deep breaths changes your state. So just 6 deep breaths can do wonders,
Yeah. And
So-
Ashley, in Extra, we are going to talk about his box breath. So stay tuned for that, because that's a really, really good, fast technique to get you back into your body, creativity, to relax the mind and the body so that you perform better. So we are going to cover that in Extra. I'm excited.
Yep, for sure. So that's M. Now we're moving on to A. A is abundance financially. If you want to invest in real estate, if you want to invest in yourself, if you want to invest in business, you have to have money. And I look at money as a tool. It's an energy, and you essentially need money to use this energy. And one thing that really was the difference maker in my financial well-being was financial literacy. Knowing how to invest, knowing how to save, and knowing how to spend wisely. It wasn't until I took financial literacy seriously, then everything started to transpire positively for me in terms of money. And I think right now, there's sometimes some negative connotations around money. It's okay if you want money, if you want to be rich, if you want a big life, go for it. But you have to change your money story first and foremost, and you have to educate yourself. In the real estate market, you have to be educated in order to make, quality buying and selling decisions, right?
Absolutely.
Same goes with investing in stocks or bonds. Same goes with investing in crypto. Same goes in investing in yourself, in business, in partnerships. It's very important to have abundance financially so we can live the happy, hustle, blissful lifestyle and take care of those who we care about. Let's face it, we're all out here working for what? For freedom. Freedom, both financially, both with our creativity, and both time freedom. 3 forms of freedom. And money can oftentimes truly help you provide that, but not at the expense of your time. A lot of people trade their time for money. I really very much focus on getting paid for value delivered, not time spent. And I think that's an important correlation or an important distinction to make. But money is a tool, and it's very important. One thing I'll just say, get good at sales. Sales are the lifeblood of any business. I love selling. It may be the hunter in me, but I think sales is just extremely important. For me, I do the majority of my sales on Zoom, which is hilarious, but like selling over $1 million this year, well, probably get in the last 18 months, over $1 million, working very little, to be honest with you, over Zoom calls. I learned a lot, because it's like, it's all emotional intelligence, how to read body language, and I don't say that to brag or anything. That's just, I have experience in this niche of selling over digital Zoom calls. And there's some very awesome / important techniques to utilize. And I just think whether you're selling on the phone or you're selling one-to-one in person or you're selling over video calls, you have to learn sales in order to achieve abundance financially. So measure where you're at right now in terms of abundance financially. 5 is you're crushing it. 1 is you're living paycheck to paycheck.
And I just want to highlight this, that you ran a business where you gave it everything, right? You were doing the 100-hour week. You were doing all of that stuff. And now you have a very, very successful business that's much more passive, right? And so I just want people to think about this. This is a very important point. If you're trading time for hours, your capacity to earn is very limited to your capacity to work. If you go on vacation, all the money stops, right?
Yeah.
So what you really want, and this is why real estate is so amazing, is passive income. You want your money out there doing its little thing. You want it doing its hustle, and you're kind of on vacation, right? So make your money hustle for you. You don't hustle, right? So that's the thing is and it's amazing with real estate. You can do it in a lot of different vehicles, right? The very rich invest in a stock portfolio, real estate, and businesses. Those are the top 3. You're welcome to do all of those. And I do all of those. But for me, it's a very passive experience. Like, the most time that I spend on my business is in this podcast business and my coaching business. And that restricts me from taking my vacations, right? But my real estate business does not. And so now I'm trying to move towards making this business a little bit more passive and sort of conducive of my lifestyle, right? But it's a really, really important point, ladies, that, and notice I mentioned about my own transition, right? We are all at some place in that, what do you want to call it? That spectrum of fully passive to trading time for money, right? And sometimes we have to trade time for money in order to get the money to create the passive income. That's okay. But have that as your goal, right? Because there's a journey that we go through to get to that place, to where your money's working for you and you're now off on vacation, right?
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I mean, I'm still on my journey. I'm still figuring it out. I know you are as well. Like, there's a delicate dance between trading your time for money and having passive residual income. So one strategy that I'll just, throw out to your audience that I've seen effective in my life is affiliate relationships.
Yes.
Affiliate relationships leverage your time most effective, because you can promote a product or service that you believe in, but not have to actually focus on delivery. I have some very lucrative affiliate relationships in my business. They pay me nice 5-10 G's every month, and it's beautiful, and then there's some that require a little more time, maybe a little more content creation, maybe a little more connection, maybe more touch points. But it's important to think about how you can actually leverage your time most effective, so you can spend it more doing what you love, right?
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Next, the first P, that is personal development. I mean, if you're not growing and evolving, you're shrinking and dissolving. So you have to focus on growing every single day in some way. And we can learn from anyone. We can learn from the garbage man on the street to the high-rise, female boss entrepreneur in the office. There's a lesson in each interaction. What I like to focus on is 90 minutes of personal growth every single day. I'll do 30 minutes of reading something inspirational, educational in the morning, 30 minutes of listening, to something inspirational and educational in the afternoon, like this podcast, and then 30 minutes of watching something inspirational and educational, because I find I draw a lot of inspiration from these different forms of content. And I know people learn in different ways. So that's why I recommend 3 different mediums. Now, if that sounds a little like a lot to start with 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, 15 in the evening, but just start focusing on your personal development and make it things relatable to where you're at right now in your business, in your life, in your investing, portfolio. Make those things relatable, what you're learning. And if you're not doing these things, measure where you rank, or if you are, that way we can course correct. So at the end of this, this interview, you should know where you're ranking in each of these. And it's just important to measure. So that's the first P, personal development.
Next.
Next is passion and hobbies. This is one that I think a lot of people miss big time. That they're working their tail off, they're grinding, they're hustling, but they're not happy hustling. This is where you fill your cup. Passion and hobbies are doing things you love, fun things regularly that you might even have to pay for. This is, maybe you're big into art or dancing. For me, I love fly fishing. I love martial arts. I go, camping and hiking and horseback riding. It's important to fill your cup so you can give from your overflow. And here is one of the biggest pieces to the puzzle. If you want to achieve blissful balance, if you want to create your dream reality, you must prioritize each separate calendar engagement with the same priority. So your passionate hobbies, AKA maybe Moneeka loves to go belly dancing, I think, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Moneeka wants to go or loves to go belly dancing. Well, that gets the same priorities as this podcast interview with Cary Jack, gets the same priority with the date night with her husband, gets the same priority as her workout. And that's how you create the blissful balance in your life, both personally and professionally. So if you're lacking in passionate hobbies, I highly recommend scheduling right now 2 fun things on your calendar next week and holding yourself to them as if they are just as important as your meeting with your next potential big partnership or whatnot. So That's the second P.
And I want to just add something to that. So yes, I do all those things, right? I have a date night every single week for 29 years with my husband. So that's one of the big things. And that counts as sort of one of my fun things that I love to do. But here's a really interesting thing that I just want to point out that you may not be thinking about as you're out there building your life. First of all, I don't know, all work, no play makes Jack a very boring boy. Do you remember this saying, Cary?
Slightly, but
maybe I'm just a lot older than you. But that was one of those things that people would tell us as younger people, and it's not emphasized anymore, that just being single dimensional, so just being an intellectual, just being a workaholic, just being a mom to the kids or a dad to the kids, just being single dimensional makes you feel bored in your own heart and makes you boring to others. Now, being boring to others is like it's its own thing. It's subjective, whatever. But what happens is through life, if you have not developed your passions, if you are not paying attention to the things that make you happy, what are you going to do when you have all that money and you retire? You're probably going to fall into a huge depression. I know so many people that fully my husband is one of these people. We're dealing with this now. Fully identify as a software engineer or that's my husband, as their job. That's who they are. And my husband has well-developed hobbies, but they're not enough of a passion that they would engage him if he had 24 hours to himself and he was no longer working his 50-hour week. So just think about, right? Like for me right now, I'm in transition to retirement, right? What does that mean? And who am I going to get to be in that? And that person has been developed my whole life. I've been a dancer since I was 5, right? I sing. I like walks. We do fine dining. We love to travel. So there's a lot, I read books, right? There's a lot of things in my life that engage my passion. So then when I retire, I'm excited because there's about 10,000 things I could do with every single day. But if you only work, you suddenly lose your identity. And instead of being full of joy, you're now really, really depressed because you don't know who you are. You don't know how to fill your time, all of those things. So for some of you ladies, I know there are like 21-year-olds listening to this. They're like, what in the world? Just understand that who you are growing to be today is who you are going to amplify and become more and more as you get older. And that's what's going to be amplified when you're wealthy, right? Do you want to give back to people? Do you want to be a passionate, joyful person? Or are you going to be grumpy and a hoarder, right? That piece. But then also, what are you going to do? Like, what's going to make your life blissful when you're not so focused on the day-to-day, right? And that really helps to raise your bliss factor also, is to feel that passion every day in some way, or have something really joyful to look forward to every week or every day, right? So we just love this, is that we are complete people. We're not just mom, wife, and employee, entrepreneur, right? We are these multidimensional beings, and we don't allow ourselves to focus on all the amazingness inside of us, right? And what we can do with our lives and our time.
Yeah, preach it. Amen, sister.
Sorry, go off.
No, it was great. I mean, I resonate with all of it. And I think, again, it's sustainable happy hustling, right? It's sustainable investing and the accumulation of knowledge and resources and wealth. Because if you, again, sacrifice everything and you get everything that you thought you wanted, and you realize that's not actually what brings joy and fulfillment, you will become depressed and have to start over and re-find yourself. So better off to do it now from the beginning.
A little bit at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. So that's the second P in soul mapping. And now we're on to I, which is impactful work, right? We spend the majority of our lives either working or thinking of work, right? And for me in the Happy Hustle, we focus on, the 3 pillars. They're a little cliche, but passion, purpose, and positive impact. And passion for me is inward facing, right? It's my calling. It's what problem I truly feel called to solve, right? And then purpose is outward serving. It's who exactly do I feel called to solve that problem for, right? And I think it's very important that it makes a positive impact, your passion and your purpose. It doesn't exploit the earth's resources negatively or hurts others. It's very important that it makes a positive impact. And so I would ask yourself, is your work right now giving you passion, purpose, and making a positive impact? And if not, maybe it's time to make a change, because life's short, y'all. We gotta live this to the fullest. And, I just think there's a lot of people sacrificing out there, and I hope that's not you, but if it is, make a change and infuse that passion, that purpose, and that positive impact. So that's I.
Yay.
Home stretch. N. nature connection. Again, we're living like zoo animals, right? We're inside our offices getting recycled air and toxic blue light and EMFs. And then we go commute in our cage on wheels, with again, recycled air and manufactured light. And then we go home and then we have more of the same. And I just think it's so important that we get back to being human beings and being outside, connecting with Pachamama, this beautiful planet. And then, oh, by the way, protecting it in the process. Climate change is real, and I actually have a company with my brother called Ecopreneur Evolution that's fighting the plastic pollution epidemic, that's creating positive solutions to climate change. And we actually invest in social entrepreneurs, essentially, in third world developing countries. And it's very important to me to solve this problem, not just for my own generation, but for future generations, or at least be a part of the solution, right? It's a big problem to solve. But I do believe that just getting outside, walking, even just 10 minutes a day, barefoot in some nice grass, or swimming in a natural body of water, or just sitting in a park, can do wonders for your soul. So that is the soul mapping framework. Measure 1 to 5.
G is for go.
And G is for go. Go, happy hustle, your dream reality. And I'll make it easy for everyone, Moneeka. If you really just want to measure yourself in each of these 10 alignments, I have a simple quiz. It's completely free. It takes maybe 60 seconds. You just go through caryjack.com/quiz. And you'll just measure 1 to 5 in each of these where you need to prioritize change. But that's the 10 alignments of being a happy hustler.
I love that. Thank you so much. Cary is so concise and such good tips. It was amazing.
Thank you for allowing me to just rattle them off.
With all the interruptions.
Yes.
Awesome. So ladies, we are going to have Cary give us some stuff in extra. We're going to talk in a little bit more detail about some of his kind of happy hustling hacks, right? So we are going to do that. In particular, I wanted him to share the box breathing breath. We've heard that in extra once before, but he's got a little bit of a different take. And this is the thing about breathing. There are so many different ways to do it, and some resonate with us and some don't, right? So he's got another technique. We do this at his mastermind every couple of weeks. So I'm going to have him share that with you. And then he's got some other stuff he wanted to share with you too. So we are going to be talking about that in extra, but so definitely stay tuned for that. And then Cary, could you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, pretty simple. Just caryjack.com is the place where everything lives. The Happy Hustle podcast, if you want to listen to Moneeka on there, that's a great episode. She rocked the mic and crushed it. And then, we actually have something special set up for your audience. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, tell us about that right now.
Yeah, that is the journey, 10 days to becoming a happy hustler. This is probably one of the best digital course products I've ever put out in my life. And it's essentially walking you through those 10 alignments that we just went through, but how to actually create blissful balance and healthy habits in each of those 10 alignments in the next 10 days. Wow. So you just go to thehappyhustle.com, and then we have code BLISS set up, BLISS, where you save 20% off. And basically you could just start happy hustling today. And it's super simple. If you can allocate an hour a day to just going through the content and implementing, you are going to become a happy hustler. So that's something we got set up specifically for your lovely ladies out there and men, but specifically your tribe.
Perfect. So is it thehappyhustle.com/bliss, or is it happyhustle.com with the code BLISS when you order?
Yep. Just go to thehappyhustle.com, click on, the Yes, I Want In page, and then it'll take you to the checkout page. And you just basically plug in code BLISS, and there you go. You get your discount.
Perfect. Love that. Okay, cool. And it's called The Journey, 10 Days to Become a Happy Hustler. I'm going to check that out. That's awesome. Awesome. So, Cary, are you ready for our 3 rapid fire questions?
I am ready. Born ready.
All right, let's do it.
Hope.
So tell us one super tip on getting started investing in real estate.
Financial literacy. read first and foremost. I love this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Great read. That book it will educate you in so many different ways.
Love it. Okay, great. And then what is one strategy on being successful as a real estate investor?
Again, I would say, I know this is the rapid fire round, but sales, because whether you're buying or you're selling or you're investing, there's some form of deal and there's some form of selling. Either you're selling yourself as a buyer or you're selling yourself in your property. Get good at the psychology behind what makes humans buy.
And then what would you say is one daily practice? I know you've got a ton of these, but one daily practice that contributes to your personal success.
Ice baths. I get cold every day. So
ice baths?
Ice baths.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that sounds horrible.
They are. They're never fun. Never look forward to them. But ice baths do wonders for the body. Getting in a tub of water that's, somewhere between 38 and 52 degrees decreases the inflammation in the body, which a lot of dis-ease stems from. Mm-hmm. It increases blood flow circulation. It basically is just a supercharger for your immune system. And it builds mental fortitude, because doing hard things regularly will build discipline and mental fortitude. So
interesting. So I learned this from a biohacking friend of mine. Where at the end of a shower, the last 30 seconds, I do cold water. Is that good?
Yep. End it on cold.
Yep. Okay. So I don't think I could do the ice bath, but I can do the cold water for 30 seconds. So
hey, it's a start.
Little baby steps. Okay. Well, Cary, this has been an amazing first part of our show. Thank you so much for all you've offered.
Thank you for having me. This has been my honor.
Yay. And ladies, thank you for joining Cary and I for this portion of the show. We've got extra coming up for some deep dives and new breathing techniques, some other information on how to live a happy hustle life. So stay tuned for that. If you are not subscribed but would like to be, go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. You get the first 7 days for free, right? So check it out, realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. For those of you that are leaving Cary and I now, thank you so much for joining us for this portion of the show. I so appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. Take care. See you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.